Good morning. How are you?
We're doing great. How's everything going with you?
You know what? I can't complain. It's a little different world not being in Springfield. I think it's probably a good thing.
I was going to say your doctor probably told you, this is the best thing for you.
Yeah, I went through some stressful times down there, and I always tried to, move the ball in the right direction. But to say it's a little tense down there is an understatement.
You're certainly looking at it from afar now, not in the thick of it as you have been in the past. Do you miss any part of it? At least this particular part, the budget fight, the stalemate, the media back and forth. Do you miss any of that?
Well, look, we've been going in the wrong direction for a number of years, and it's nice to have somebody in a position with some leverage in the governor's office that realizes it's wrong and is trying to turn it around. And I miss the opportunity. I was down there with Democrat governors, and I missed the opportunity to be with the Republican governor to try to actually shift the ship and take on the pension issue and balance the budget and make it a good place to do business. So, in that respect, I do. But the personalities and the infighting and the personal shots, I don't miss that a whole lot, to be honest.
You've dealt with Mike Madigan certainly through your time in Springfield. And we've discussed with some people here the question about whether or not Speaker Madigan underestimated Governor Rauner in terms of not just being a negotiator, but also his willingness to carry out what he promised on the campaign trail. Do you think Speaker Madigan, he's a wily guy, he's a smart politician, there's no doubt about that, right? But do you think he underestimated his opponent here in the budget fight?
I think everybody did. And I think that, Governor Rauner is a bright, articulate guy who's very principled. And when I say, I don't want to say he doesn't care because that's the wrong way to phrase it, but I don't think he cares about the political consequences. Where most politicians are already worrying about their next election. And that's one of the reasons we have this mess we do, and both parties at times have been guilty of it. But Governor Rauner is a unique individual because of his wealth and because of his corporate and business background, and really, I don't think has an interest in whether or not he gets reelected. And I think that is probably what people have misjudged, and I think that helps us as a state. Forget the politics, forget the party. Can we turn this state around? And I think Governor Rauner wants to do that. And I think the answer is yes. I think he's been underestimated.
Now, for us to ask this question of many other people, it would just be idle speculation on their part. But you've been right in the heart of the sausage factory down there. If you were to project ahead, if someone were to say, "Okay, Tom, how's this all going to resolve itself? Well, how do you see this working itself out? What do you think?"
Well, I think a lot of it depends on what the court does with. There's going to be a hearing and a decision by the Supreme Court as to whether or not state employees can get paid.
Mm-hmm.
If the Supreme Court says they can continue to get paid without an appropriation bill or a budget bill, then I think this thing goes on for quite a while. If they say you can't pay the state employees without a budget, then I think that changes the dynamic. But generally speaking, I don't see either the Speaker or the Governor blinking. And I think this thing could go on a while. And look, you just have to look in the past, year after year of unbalanced budgets. I'm glad, and I don't say glad because I want anybody hurt at all. That's no fun. But I do think that we have to, as a state, do things differently. And I'm glad there's somebody in there that's equal to the Speaker and willing to take him on.
Is it sort of like that quote from The Godfather, Tom Cross, when they're all going to the mattresses, they're all going to war, and I don't know if it's Clemenza, I can't recall the character, says, these things got to happen every 10 years or so, helps to clear things up. Now, perhaps every 40 years or so, Illinois has got to go through something like this to right the financial ship, as Democrats have been in control, totally in control for the past 12 years or so.
Yeah, look, you cannot keep going down the road of passing unbalanced budgets year in and year out. You don't pay people. We don't pay people on time. We don't pay them. We underpay them. It hurts our credit rating, and there's so many negatives to it. And you've got to correct this. It's not going to happen overnight, but you've got to turn it around and start the process. And that's where it is. And I got to tell you, there will be some short-term pain. And I feel human service agencies are the ones that are going to suffer in all this, and they've been the ones that have suffered the last 10 to 12 years. So long term, I'm hopeful that this will be beneficial to not only us as taxpayers, but to the social service provider, the hospital that has Medicaid patients. We need to fix it for them long term.